Are you curious about the fascinating connection between cities and psychological disorders? Yes, you heard it right. You might have never heard of these disorders, but they exist and can affect anyone. Today, we're going to explore 10 psychological disorders that are named after cities. So, without further ado, let's get started. Number 1. The first on our list is Paris Syndrome. Now, you might think Paris is a beautiful city with lovely people, so how can it be associated with a psychological disorder? Well, Paris Syndrome occurs when someone has an idealized view of the city and experiences a sense of disappointment and disillusionment when they visit it. This disorder mostly affects Japanese tourists who have a romanticized view of Paris. Number 2. Next up is Jerusalem Syndrome, a disorder that affects individuals who visit Jerusalem and experience a religious or spiritual awakening. This can lead to obsessive thoughts, irrational behavior, and even delusions of grandeur. People with Jerusalem Syndrome often believe they have a divine mission or are the Messiah. Number 3. Moving on, we have Stockholm Syndrome, a disorder that gained its name after a bank robbery in Stockholm, Sweden. It occurs when hostages develop an emotional attachment to their captors, even defending them. This disorder is not limited to hostages but can also happen to victims of domestic violence or child abuse. Number 4. Another disorder on our list is Lima Syndrome, which is the opposite of Stockholm Syndrome. It occurs when the captor develops an emotional attachment to their hostages and might even let them go or try to help them escape. Number 5. Now, let's talk about Florence Syndrome. Similar to some of the other psychological disorders in the list, Florence Syndrome was first identified in the city of Florence, Italy. This is a strong behavioral response caused by the anticipated and then experience of Florence's ethnic diversity. A rapid heartbeat, dizziness, fainting, and hallucinations are among the milder symptoms. Around 2/3 of those affected develop paranoid psychoses. This condition is also popularly known as the Stendhal syndrome. The majority of the people who developed this disorder came from European countries, and their psychoses started to develop during visits to art galleries and museums of Florence. Number 6. Sixth on our list is Amsterdam Syndrome, and is a relatively new psychological condition seen in men. This term was coined in the year 2008 by therapist Chiara Simonelli. The word is derived from Amsterdam's red light district, where working girls sit seductively in a window area on display. This condition depicts the behavior of men who post images of their naked spouses without the spouse's knowledge or approval. This condition has been observed mostly in Italian men. Number 7. Next up is Sarajevo Syndrome. This is a type of post-traumatic stress disorder named after the city of Sarajevo. This condition was named during World War II and is a traumatic disorder that affects persons who have lived through violent wars. Furthermore, this condition is getting rarer as the world moves away from wars. Number 8. Let's talk about London Syndrome, which is similar to Stockholm Syndrome. However, it has a few differences that set it apart. This condition occurs when the hostages or the victims refuse to cooperate with their captors or abusers. It is primarily a dangerous psychological disorder where the victims don't act on the situation and exhibit constant resistance and refusal during a hostage situation. London Syndrome was first identified in the year 1981 in London, hence the name. Victims with this condition respond to their captors with extreme belligerence, non-cooperation, and arguments. Number 9. Ninth on our list is Venice Syndrome. It is a rare psychological disorder where travelers, especially people not from Venice, travel to Venice intending to hurt themselves. Also called the Laguna Syndrome, this disorder was first found in the year 1988 when foreigners coming from different nearby countries traveled to Venice to commit suicide. According to reports from individuals who were saved, Venice is considered a symbol of death. Some psychologists believe that this disorder is inspired by Thomas Mann's novel, Death in Venice. The common method of suicide for women was a drug overdose, whereas men did it by jumping out of hotel windows, from bridges, or drowning in a lagoon. Number 10. And finally we have the Detroit Syndrome. It was named like this because of the ongoing description of Detroit as a motor city. The term Detroit Syndrome refers to the condition of replacing aging employees with younger, quicker, and stronger workers who have better knowledge and are more skilled. It is an age-related discriminatory disorder where an individual feels that younger people are more suitable for a job. So, there you have it, 10 psychological disorders that are named after cities. It's fascinating to see how these cities have become associated with these disorders, and it's a reminder that our surroundings can have a profound impact on our mental health. Thank you for watching, and if you know anyone who might find this video interesting, please share it with them. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting content, and we'll see you in the next one.